Finance Administrative Committee meeting on Monday, May the 11th. So far without a quorum, but we will proceed as a committee dialogue.
Committee of the whole.
Committee of the whole. Thank you. So we can't take any action. Call to order. I'm the only one here. No need to call you. Addition or correction to the agenda? Any?
We have a revision on page 45, which might have been distributed. There was a formatting change, and that's exhibit 10B of the report.
Let's do that when we get there.
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Karen. Okay, we will.
We now have.
Okay, we will declare a quorum. Thank you, Karen. I just started it as a committee of the whole, which is technically okay to start with or no action. But now that you're here, we can take action. So let's start all over again. Finance Administrative Committee meeting convenes today on Monday, May the 11th. Roll call, please.
Okay, so committee members, Director George Riley.
Here.
Director Karen Paul. Here. All board members present.
Good. And Commissioner Daniels is not coming, and Commissioner Lindor, the director, may be late.
No, Director Lindor will likely be absent.
Will likely be absent. Okay, just to confirm that. All right, so now I'll just go over any additions and corrections to the agenda. And you said there's one on
Page 45.
We'll take that up when we get to it. Thank you. Any comments from the public? We're all in the same family, right? Okay, let's go to action items.
In May, we do not have any public members, but we do have an attendee, Director Edwards.
Good to know. Thank you. Okay, so first item on the agenda is action items adoption. Let me see. Let me just make sure. As my understanding, just to get an overview, my understanding is all the action items 1 through 13 would be normally headed for the consent agenda. Is that fair? Okay. All right.
The gap limit is something I've seen it go on public hearing too, but I'll leave it here.
Most of these would be consent items.
Which one did you say that?
Might not be.
That's the,
Item 13.
thank you, item 13. So that's adopting resolution pursuant to state law.
Yeah, gotcha.
So that one typically will be pulled and not be on consent.
And that's a pro forma requirement anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. I still don't understand the calculations, but I understand you have to make them.
That's what still is.
Okay, so item number 1, adoption of the minutes of the last meeting. I second. All in my favor say aye. Aye. Opposed nay. None. Oh, anyway, unanimous. That's unanimous. Item number 2, the summer splash. We're gonna have a little bit of update report on that.
All right, so this is continuation of our
Just tell us your name so we know who our staff people are.
Stephanie Kingsford Campbell, water demand analyst. And this is item 2, consider approval of funding for outreach event Summer Splash Water Challenge giveaway 7. So this is our 7th year of the Summer Splash Water Challenge, which is an online educational game board for the public to play and enter to win prizes. The budgeted funds up to $30,000, and they are half reimbursed by California American Water.
And the participation levels are?
So we're about 475 people that have turned in completed game boards, and then plenty more that visit the website, which is about 3,000 come to the website and interact with it in some level.
So I have a question. I mean, do you have any questions at all? I have some.
Yeah,
A couple.
yes, first is about the amount, because the cost estimate in the beginning of this document says 20,000, and towards the end. It says it recommends that we ask the board to approve 30,000 for this event. So is this a a mistake or?
It is 30,000. I'm not seeing the 20 here, so.
Cost estimate in the very, in the headings in the very beginning of the memo?
We'll make that correction. I think we were trying to parse out the CalAm portion versus the district portion. So the approval is just for the district portion, which is half of what CalAm has. So, yeah.
The district portion would end up being around 15,000?
Yeah, we can change the recommendation to 20,000 if that's okay.
And that's the district piece of this.
Yeah.
Only, okay.
Or 15?
But the,
And then we get reimbursed for that, whichever way
Yeah.
we do it. I just want to clarify.
We will get the numbers in sync,
okay,
whether it's 30 or 20. I think we should go with 30 because then we appropriate 30, and then if CalAm's going to reimburse us, then we have the full amount. So I will go with the 30,000 and yeah.
And then just a comment that I was looking at the participation figures because in my mind it was a question, is this a program that's worth continuing? And I see that, the numbers are pretty good. They've been well over 400 since 2022. That seems, and plus you told us about the way more people go on the website and see the information, so things like participation is pretty good. That's all. Okay.
Okay, when I was on the participation level myself, do you think, what accounts for the increased participation as near as you can kind of guess? Has our prize collection been the key or what?
oh, that's a good question. Well, we redesigned the game board, so it's a lot more exciting and interesting. The scheme, the color scheme is really more inviting than the previous iterations. And then we do keep changing the prizes up just to make it a little more attractive, tweak it a little bit, and see what will draw in different folks. So I think all of that just led to a higher number.
And you're suggesting a 1 month long contest, aren't you? Did I read that as opposed to 2 weeks?
So it's been 4 weeks. We went up to 6 weeks in a previous year. But that add time, that we ran into the paper didn't result in higher participation. So we didn't find that was, worth the cost.
So it's a 30-day, it's a 1 month
Yeah.
plan for next summer. Okay. That's my questions. I'll move approval. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. And item 3 is the Mulch Madness. I love mulch.
Okay, and I'll continue with that one. So this is again a continuation of another program, Mulch Madness, which this is where we invite all of our constituents to come to Regen and get mulch for free. So they get 1 truckload or a comparable amount of bagged mulch, which is 5 bags. So we keep the cost the same, whether you're getting loose or bagged. Of course, the loose is more, so we encourage that. And so it's been a really successful program. Our initial one had the most people come because we hadn't done before, and now we're doing it twice a year. So a little bit less participation in each event, but we're doing it more frequently. So we're getting some great turnout. It's a half-day event, so the staff's there 8 to noon. Most people come in the first 2 hours and get their mulch, and it's a really great program. So this is also shared with CalAm, and we do get half reimbursed on the program from them. So total budget is 12,000, and we get half of that back.
So just to confirm, the approach here, you're want to use the district's allocation of 12,000 with half of it being reimbursed. And so that's the same pattern that we're going to use for the
For the previous one, yes.
Okay, that's my point, and I just think
Yeah, so we will, incur a cost of up to 12,000, but get half of that back.
Do you have any comments or questions? Please.
What months were you said twice a year, so what months were you planning on?
Oh, so we did one in April this year, and we'll probably target October, but we'll keep in mind other things that are happening for staff that we have to work around and other events, because the fall is really a big time for other events that the district staffs, but October would be what we were looking for.
During the summer. Thank you.
So I'm all in favor of this, but I want to share one anecdote.
Mhm.
I pulled up, checked in. They needed to look at my water bill. That's their procedure. I showed them a bill. The woman that was checking me in said, "Oh, you're George Riley." I said, "Yes, sometimes I'm a pain in the neck to Cal-Am." She goes, I get my mulch, go back home. All right, now I got it. Now, it's a couple weeks later. I'm at the Earth Day event in Seaside. So I go up to our tent. And I see our tent with our name on it. And I thought Cal-Am shared this. Why come it's our tent with our name on it? And as I got closer, I recognized some Cal-Am people there. So I knew it was a shared thing. So I was with it. And then this woman was there. I said, yeah. I said, "You're the one to check me in." She said, "Yes, I remember." And she had a big Cal-Am sign on. And I thought, okay, we'll just close the loop on that. Anyway, I thought that was funny. I move approval.
You second your motion and note your anecdote.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Item 4 is a contract with CoreLogic.
Hi, good afternoon. I am Kyle Smith, the newest water demand analyst. So we are asking for up to $25,000 for our licensing for CoreLogic. We use this to look up our property characteristics and get details that go on our deed restrictions that are unrecorded. It's an essential tool that we use each day. Yeah, happy to answer any questions.
None for me.
Well, yeah, the only thing I want to compliment the staff on is that you give examples of how this works within the system. And if you just talked in broader general terms, I wouldn't get it. The fact that you go into examples, I still may not get a lot of it, but at least I understand it better. And I appreciate going into some of the details about how it gets applied in the administration of the work we do and your work that you do.
Of course.
So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So I move approval. So all in favor, say aye. 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 And motion carries.
It's understood that what we mean is recommending approval to the board.
Well,
All these.
yes. For item number 5, Kyle, you're still on.
Yep. So this is for our corporate service company. They're the company that we use to record all of our deed restrictions or send them to the county recorder's office to be recorded. So after our review using RealQuest, and we've created our deed restriction or notice of non-compliance or notice of compliance, we're then sending it through CSC to the county recorder's office. And it has been such a effective way to get documents recorded. And we are asking for $60,000 for these recordings. Part of it is reimbursed due to we do charge for the recording of notices of compliance and the limitation on these deed restrictions that we're putting on property titles. And
I have a little bit of a historical question. It seems to me I wasn't even on the board then. But that there was some concern that the recorded the documents themselves, the district signs off on in some fashion. And then they had to physically carry that document to the county
yes.
to get recorded. Now, is it automated these days or?
Yes, so this is what allows us to be automated. Before we were using the courier service, sending all of our documents in a packet to the recorder's office, getting them recorded, and then a day later getting them back. This allows us to do it all electronically. And skip that step. It's much more efficient.
Yeah, I'm glad it's working. I just remember that was a problem and a complaint from those that file permits,
Yeah.
file for permits.
Much quicker.
My comment is good use of technology, as you say, more efficient, but doesn't put you out of work.
Correct.
So still, plenty of work.
Yes.
It's not like AI.
So you want to make that motion or?
Yeah, I move we recommend approval.
Okay, and I second. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. That's item number 5. Item number 6 is the contract with Telematrix.
Good afternoon. My name is Thomas Christensen, and I'm bringing this item today to you regarding Sleepy Hollow Steelhead Rearing Facility. It has basically a operating system that allows us to monitor water flows and monitor all aspects of the steelhead facility, fish are in the facility. Our consultant is Telemetrics, and we have an annual contract with them, and this time it's same as last year for $35,408. And what that does is have him review all the instruments before the steelhead season begins. He's also on call essentially 24 hours a day for any kind of plant shutdowns or failures during the wintertime or summertime. He also maintains the website that allows us to access the flows, the temperatures, and things at any time of day, especially at night when we have lightning storms and all sorts of things that have caused issues. And he also is in charge of updating the programs periodically or replacing sensors. There's water level sensors, temperature sensors. And so some of that funding includes updates of several sensors as well. And that pretty much covers it. It's a complex system, and he's been there for us in all times of emergency when there's been questions about flows and in the rearing channel with the young steelhead, and also during times when there was a fire, and also from the in Carmel Valley and all that nature. So that's the item.
One question.
Go, please.
So you partially answered. I was going to ask if you've ever needed to call them out for emergency sounds.
Yes, many times.
Mm.
We've had quite a few 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning conversations, and I'm actually really happy that he's always answering the phone.
Good
So,
to know.
yeah,
Good
yeah.
to know. One question I had was about this enhanced insurance.
Yeah, that is a product of the district's policy. It came from Suresh. After the facility was upgraded and became more high tech, Suresh felt like the insurance was not enough, that his insurance, and he said he wasn't going to cover the cost of our increased burden of insurance as far as contractors insurance, like if he made a mistake and the place burnt down. That's on the district because I can't remember what that value was,
Well-
but it's a little bit higher than the standard rate.
I think our standard insurance requirements are 2 million for general liability and around the same for property. But I think it's a good investment. So if a vendor passes on the cost of insurance to the district, it's still a risk management tool. And if we give a little bit upfront to, like save us millions of dollars down the road, I think it might still be a good investment of over time of the dollars. I think it's worth checking if if he's really spending 9,900 on insurance, extra insurance. That's something that we can investigate. If that's the true cost that this vendor is incurring, that's worth checking. But if he's passing on, I think we should just look at it from a risk management standpoint and take it as an investment.
I mean,
I understand, I trust your judgment on that, but it was the almost $10,000.
It does look so it's worth asking if that's the true cost that
I think that cost is exactly the same or close to last year's,
Last year's.
but it is a chunk of the contract, and so I guess I could
We can have a conversation with them before the board meeting.
All right, sounds
Okay, with a little follow-up. I'm curious about something that's operational rather than technical. What's the relationship of the Steelhead Association with the Steelhead rearing facility? Is there a relationship?
There isn't, they've asked to bring fish there before, but typically we like to keep our work separate from theirs, and part of the reason is, the fish that go to the facility, we typically like them to come from a certain kind of water quality, and if they're degraded, or fish from coming from questionable waters from someone we don't have control of, they could introduce disease. So we have never accepted, rescued fish from the Steelhead Association. And typically their fish come from tributaries. They don't do mainstream rescues. And they are typically required to release at the confluence. So they don't operate, they don't work there, and they've never brought fish there to be reared. So
Okay, thank you. I like that clarification. I hear Steelhead mentioned sometimes
yeah,
out and about.
yeah.
I want to thank the staff for the big fish report that we got at the board about, I don't know, 2, 3 months ago.
Yeah, okay.
It was 25 pages or something.
Yeah.
It was quite a report, but I thought it was pretty
Yeah.
good.
Okay, well, I'm glad you
Thank you
found
for
it
that.
useful. Okay.
So I move approval, recommend support, recommend adoption by the full board.
One second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Number 6. Number 7 is outreach.
That comes to me.
Aha.
So this is the contract with Wellman Ad. They were hired in 2022. And you guys are pretty aware of all the things that they've been helping the district with, brand ads. Annual report, website items. And so this year we're requesting a modest 3% increase for their contract, which would be $97,000. $344. So, we feel like they've done a good job for us, increased our visibility. And looking forward to additional work this next year.
I think they're doing a good job.
I
Do
agree.
you have any questions or?
Just about the amount, is it the same as last year?
Just a little bit of an increase.
Just like cost of living?
Yeah, 3%.
I just,
Wellman is doing a very good job.
I do too. I think he's very creative and district is benefiting from all of that. And the public exposure, I mean, the public transparency, I think is very good. What I wanted to say, the annual report. I remember seeing the annual report. We saw it in draft form.
Yeah.
We suggested A, B, and C, whatever it was. And then it came out. So when I saw it, I thought, God, this is so much better than what I saw before. I don't know, it's probably just me, but I was very impressed with the annual report. I just thought it was good. The good titles were all positive and kind of progress related, and the articles were tight. The photographs that were included were kind of relevant, just kind of help tell a story. I just thought it was excellent. I just loved it. Anyway.
No, it's good. And it's been well received, so
Yeah,
we're excited.
Take another look at it.
I was just overwhelmed with, but it was more the titles. I thought this is, my God, it catches everything, catches what I want to catch, what I think the public would respond to.
Yeah, no, it's so important because a lot of people just read about
Yeah, that really caught me.
Good graphic design.
And I'd already seen it once and it didn't come through the first time.
Yeah,
So
good graphic design, it's really catchy, and so that also plays a role in outreach, so. Good content, good presentation.
So my takeaway is maybe encouraging people to read it twice. That's a hard sell.
it. Okay, more than- But not your typical.
So I move approval to recommend to the full board.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Item 7, item number 8 is JEA.
JEA. So obviously JEA, they're our state advocacy specialists. We've worked really well with JEA lately. They are helping us right now with the non-functional turf bill that we have introduced, Senate Bill 1139. So they did some heavy lifting with that, and we've also leaned on them, for testimony of last year's information. We give our advocacy reports through them, give the board periodic updates, and so it's just great to have a presence in Sacramento, and we can't be there or give somebody the opportunity to testify on our behalf if we can't make it. So we really enjoyed their work and their relationships, and I think that's what it's all about in Sacramento, is having those relationships. And so it's done well for us. So let's zoom out there. $6,000 a month, I believe. $72,000 a year. And you were gonna have a question?
Well, I was gonna say, I've been on the legislative advocacy committee of the board for a number of years, and I agree with your assessment. They've been helpful in lots of different ways, and I know that in your memo, you say that they have been helping us about getting the moratorium on the youth actions lifted. They've been able to help us with that, which I didn't.
We keep them apprised when we have our update calls and things like that. We ask for input as to, is there a way that we haven't thought about, reaching people or things like that. Since it's at the state water board and they've invoked ex parte, it's a little tough to, kind of crack that one right now, but we've still solicited their input and their advice. Whether or not we can utilize it's a different animal.
But they sometimes have
Oh, sure.
helpful advice or insights. Well, that's good to know.
And can you remind me of the bill that they helped kill in the last legislature with us? With us, didn't lead on that.
Senate, yeah, it was an AB. I can't rattle off the number.
Or something.
It was Padilla, San Diego, and just a great effort. Public Water Now put in a letter of support as well as the district, and then the CPC Advocates Office. That was the three parties that were opposed, and it got defeated. So kind of a big win for a really small group that joined together.
What would that bill have been?
That would have allowed the water utilities to decouple their rates. And so, one of the things that they were talking about in the testimony to the committee was that, all the electric companies have decoupled their rates. And that, as we all know what electricity rates have done. So I don't know if that was probably their best argument to start.
Yeah, right.
But the committee, we watched online, we didn't go to it, but it was an hour and a half just on that bill. And that is so rare to have one committee here, one item for an hour and a half, and then back and forth and back and forth. They just eventually there were too many questions and they didn't recommend it. They moved it forward, but then the process of how those bills.
So tell me if I'm wrong. The PUC disapproved the decoupling. They did not want it.
Right.
The legislation was introduced as a backdoor to get it approved
Yes,
and to override the PUC decision.
yes.
And then it got defeated, so it upheld the PUC decision, which is one of the few decisions they really made in the favor of customers. In my opinion,
Yes.
the fewest, in my opinion.
It's very solid evidence that the decoupling when it came to water didn't do anything for conservation.
Yeah.
So, which is supposed to be supposedly the purpose.
Yeah, it was good work.
Yeah.
Anyway, good work with JEA as well as, the allies that was recruited for that. Okay, we're going back and forth on motions.
Oh, all right. I would recommend that the board approves renewing this contract with JEA.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you with a little background. Okay, next item number 9, the Ferguson Group.
The Ferguson Group, TFG, they're our federal advocates. And, we have monthly conversations with them about the status of things in Washington. Obviously, things are a little different than the last administration and things are moving at different paces. One of the things that we've seen is some of the grant funding has kind of slowed down. at the federal level. There are still opportunities. We will make that known. And just today, they sent us a packet of information and I reviewed some of the possible grant opportunities and sent those out to our division managers to kind of start exploring whether or not we may have, an opportunity to pursue that. So I think that's always, you gotta have the right people looking at the right opportunities so that you can engage when you can. And then obviously they still have the connections to, if, we decided to go back to have meetings at reclamation or EPA or things like that. So, again, you hear the reports at the advocacy committee, they provide a really detailed report about kind of where things are going as far as appropriations, things like that. So they did a great job. How things work with TFG is that we don't approve an update every year, like on their costs. So they wait 2 years and then we approve like a 5% increase, which is generally like a 2.5% each year. So they've been really supportive of the district. They've helped gather money in the past with pure water, or have assisted, with Monterey One Water. So, they've been a very effective lobbyist team. Obviously, if we choose to pursue some of the grant opportunities in the future, that we can add that on as a adder to their contract. It'd be specific, but we'd come to the board to say, hey, we're going to engage them to try to apply for a grant or something like that.
Sarah or whoever, who's on the legislative committee for the board? I'm sorry, legislative committee. Yes, legislative committee. Yeah.
Yes, I'm one of them.
Oh, you remember? Okay.
And Chair Oglesby. And
Is it Kate?
no, I don't believe so. I can look that up right now.
No,
I'm pulling it up. It's connection slow.
well, I've been on and off it, so I can't remember whether I'm.
Well, right now it says Ian, Karen Paul, and George Riley.
Oh, man. Too bad. Is suggest that if we're, I don't need to suggest it because we're both on it. Being on it is very interesting when you get a full report from them, because it's a fascinating discussion. Always has been, whether it's a state level or the national level, it's just fascinating. And very relevant and very, enough detail where you can appreciate a lot of things, but not so much detail you just get lost in the forest. So, I mean, I really appreciate it.
I agree with that. Some of the inner workings that they know and participate in, it's really insightful. But like, it could bore some other people if they wanted to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, yeah, no, I enjoy those meetings when they happen. All right, well, I'm gonna move that we recommend approval to the full district board. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. 9. Item number 10. And a few pages away, the treasurer's report.
Yes, I'll go with the next 4 reports. Starting with the monthly treasurer's report for the month of March. And so the total cash and investments remain at about 33 million. We have 2 bank accounts, a checking account and a public funds account, which was formerly the money market account, and 3 investment accounts, LAIF, CLASS, and multi-bank securities, which is just bank CDs. So for the month of March, the amount of deposits and payments that we made is slightly higher than expected, because now we are buying additional water from the expansion. So this includes deposits that we received from the sale of water for the month of January and February. So in January, we sold almost 600 acre feet, and then in February it was 500. And this is almost double the amount of water we have been selling before the expansion kicked in. So we'll get used to seeing these larger transactions. So out of that 6 million that you see here, about 4.4 million is just sale of water. And then we received some user fees. That was another 500,000, and then another 500,000 from the State Water Resources Control Board for the grants that went to the Deep Injection Well 6 project. So that's the 6 million. And then for the disbursements, we made almost 7 million in disbursements. And this is also higher because this includes all the water supply fee reimbursements that went to almost 32,000 ratepayers. And a detailed presentation about this was provided in the last meeting, so I won't go into it. But that project has been successfully done. We did encounter some unexpected challenges, but we got the correct owners for that fiscal year and got the correct addresses and made those payments. So a detailed listing of all the payments is in Exhibit B, and you might have seen a revised Exhibit B or we will provide it at the board meeting. And I'll go over additional details in the next staff report, but this is the overview.
Well, this is the one with the correction
Yeah,
or the update.
there's some formatting issues with the.
Point out the change, can you?
I think some of the rows kind of flowed. Let's see. So if you look at the fourth line from the top, county assessor and Monterey 1 are kind of fused together. These are just formatting changes, nothing in terms of the numbers.
Okay.
And similarly, the fifth from the top, California American Water and Monterey 1. So we purchased water for the month of January. That's the 2.6 million, and that's showing up here. That was the largest payment or expense in March.
Very little.
They are the class counsel for the water supply fee. So attorneys from the opposing side. Yeah, that's $500,000. And this is all part of the settlement agreement. And this was all negotiated at the court level, so.
Fortunate. Wow. We made it.
Yeah.
Will's report has talks about reserves or shows the reserves. Any of these two reports in a row?
The treasurer's report,
Okay.
Exhibit C would show reserves when we book them. Reserves are typically booked at the end of the year. There are two types of reserves: water reserves and then financial reserves. Water reserves, we will be booking those reserves in the last quarter. Once we meet our obligations for purchase of water, then the extra water that's going to be purchased is going to be put in the Pure Water Monterey operating reserve, and that's going to happen in the last quarter of this fiscal year.
So I'm thinking. We spend a fair amount of time. To you, Mike, as well. We spend a fair amount of time on understanding the financial reserves we have and how we need to protect them and maintain a certain amount and use them wisely and not always get bailed out through the reserves and so on. But I'm curious about how to maybe I say elevate, but maybe that's not the right word, but elevate the significance of the water reserves. And how we treat that as a reserve and an asset, and how do we protect that, or how do we manage that, or whatever. And is that a subject that ought to be elevated to some kind of discussion point at some point, other than just reporting data? I'm just raising it as kind of a not necessarily a policy question, but how do we treat that? If we treat the financial reserves a certain, I say respect. I don't say we don't treat it with other respect. With more transparency, maybe is a question, right question.
So I think we kind of did that a little bit at the strategic planning meeting. We kind of talked about the importance of the Seaside Groundwater Basin and some of the things that we're working on in that regard, the monitoring wells and replacing some antiquated equipment, just so that we can get a better idea if there was seawater intrusion, because now we have some reserves in there, not only water reserves, but also that equates to, financial implications for the district. And so I think it's working together. And I think, when you add ASR onto that, then maybe that's a conversation I think we could have. Now the ASR is pretty much over for the year. maybe we can bring that up and show, just don't, Dave showed that in his general manager's report, but just really maybe illustrate some of the other items that we're working on.
Yeah, and I'm not looking for a special report or anything like that. I'm just trying to figure out that or inquire. How to elevate that in the awareness of the district that this is an important reserve also. And it's not just a water data report.
Mhm.
It's more of a appreciation of its value. An
Yeah.
understanding of how it's a value for management purposes.
This might be a good thing to highlight in the district's annual report. Maybe it's already highlighted there. That we hold around 2,500 acre feet of operating reserve. And we will meet all of the requirements, which is like 2,700 acre feet this fiscal year. So we'll be holding substantial reserves. And then on top of that, we'll be adding on to the drought reserve starting next year. Yeah, could be a combination of outreach and maybe annual reports. We could also present it at the budget if, yeah, that's another place to highlight it.
Yeah, I think right now I'm thinking of it, to remind board members and explain to the public the different aspects of the water reserve. First, there's a minimum amount of operating reserves that we're required to hold under the contracts, the water contracts. Then it seems prudent to also have the drought reserve,
Mhm.
which is possible now that we have a operating surplus. And then it has a financial value, which I guess it's good to understand what that is.
7 million so far. We're holding 7 million of water reserves on our books, but the actual water is in the ground and depends on how you price that water. But we've been recording it at the purchase price, and that has varied over the years.
The fourth thing I'm not sure about, which is that, I mean, does this amount play any role in protecting the aquifer from saltwater intrusion, or is this too small an amount to make a difference?
I think that's an idea that George is kind of, I think, leaning towards, is that, how this plays into the CTEC groundwater basin. Our inputs as far as operating reserve, but then also ASR and any carryover that they may have in the basin. So yes, there are seeing results in the basin of water levels, coming back up versus where they were heading prior to a lot of the pure water project being implemented.
About when did they start coming back on?
In the 2020, 2021 timeframe, and that's when they started really seeing the advancement of ASR, water that we were putting in, they weren't taking it out, that time frame as well.
So if Cal-Am started its payback regime, 700 something acre feet less,
When and if.
if that would help more, no?
Yeah,
That would help more with raising the.
water levels, yeah.
But there's a precondition for that. They've got to have,
Another water supply.
they get a used and useful water supply issue. They're desal.
Yeah.
And
But right now, it might actually be possible to, in terms of the amount of water currently available, it might be possible. There's to consider. Starting with the, I know they won't want to. But
no, they won't want to. No, but I don't think that's the agreement. But anyway,
yeah, okay, they don't want to.
yeah.
Um,
I'm hearing some feedback from their latest application to state lands commission. They're trying to get permission to add 4 wells, 3 or 4 wells. Add?
You know, the coast.
Yeah, next to their slant well right now. Yeah, they're trying to get a permit for that. There's a lot of traffic I'm seeing in emails. Well, okay, no, I think we're on the same page about trying to elevate that in some discussion format in the future.
Yes, noted.
The budget meeting sounds like something.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll include a
good.
slide on that.
Good. Well, I'll move approval of the quarterly financial report.
Well, we just need to recommend, I mean, the board just needs to receive it.
Oh, this is just receive.
Right,
Is it?
Michael?
No, we're still on item 10.
Or did I move? That turns.
So
late,
adapt
so I-
and recommend adoption. We've been adopting it.
Right.
Okay, recommend adopt.
Right.
Okay, I move. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 10 is approved. Item number 11 is receive, I believe.
Yes, this is the receive. So this is an adoption. This is just pure information for the committee and the board's review. So this is the quarterly financial report where we see how we are doing financially and budget-wise. We look at the year-to-date budget. So our total budget for the year is 42 million. And then we look at 75% of that budget, that's 3 quarters. And that's 31.6 million. So we're comparing the revenues and expenditures against the year-to-date budget. And as you can see here, we have received almost 92% of our year-to-date revenues. That's 29 million. And we have expensed about 85% of our total budget. That's about 26 or almost 27 million. But the big picture is we received enough revenues to account for all the expenditures. The revenues are covering our expenditures for the first 3 quarters. So that way, we're doing well and we're still below budget. Exhibit B and C of the staff report, they're kind of going to provide a breakdown of what's happening, and I'm just going to run through this real quick. Looking at the first, so this is the black bar is the year-to-date budget, and the light bar is the actual. And starting with the first one, property taxes. Our total budget for property taxes is 3 million. We received taxes in 3 installments in December, in April, and in June. And so what you see here, 1.6 million is the first installment that we received in December. The second installment was received in April, but it's not captured. Year-to-date budget for property taxes stand at around 72%. User fees is about 84% of our year-to-date budget, and this doesn't include user fees for the month of March because we received the fees 1 month late. So this is 8 months of user fees, and we're comparing it against 9 months of year-to-date budget. But it's mostly on track. We might be slightly lower than expected, but I think we might still hit about 95% of our estimated revenues for the year. The big bar, that's the water sales from Pure Monterey. That's higher than expected, approximately 13% higher. Now, we sold a lot of water in Q1, in Q2 and Q3. That's when the expansion went into effect. But now, for the last quarter, we're going to put some water into the reserve. So it's going to go down. So this is going to even out. And we expect to stay within budget for Pure Monterey. Capacity fees and permit fees slightly higher than expected. We have some large projects going on, including at the Monterey Regional Airport and some conversion, projects. So that's elevated. I think it's a conversion, and Steph might have a better idea about what these projects are. In my notes, I have conversion of an office building to an apartment complex building on Garden Road.
Yeah.
And then there are some other commercial projects.
Now, there's a lot of construction out on Garden Road these days
Mhm.
in progress.
Interest revenue is higher than expected. We continue to stay in an elevated interest rate environment. This might change next year now that we have a new Fed chair coming on board, but we'll see. The reimbursement these are reimbursements for ASR, rebates, and Watermaster. And this only captures 2 quarters of reimbursements because we bill every quarter, and we haven't billed for quarter 3, so that's not shown here. And then grants is the two grants that we have for the expansion project, one through the Urban Community Drought and the second through the State Water Resources Control Board. Both the grants are going to be complete this fiscal year, and we will be on budget here. I think we're billing for final retention payments in the coming month. So this whole revenue stream that you see here is going to go away next year. And then reserves, as we buy water for our operating reserve, we might need to tack onto some of our financial reserves. So our fund balance, we'll have to move money from our fund balance, and buy that water. But that would all happen in the last quarter. So that's the revenue side. And expenditures, much more simpler. The first two bars are operations, so personnel and services and supplies. We're staying under budget here. In the middle, we increased the personnel expenditures because we had to account for some vacation buybacks, and two of our tier one members are retiring, or maybe one's retiring. One has retired. So we increased the budget, but we stand at around 92% of our year-to-date budget for personnel expenditures. Services and supplies is about 87% of our year-to-date budget. And then project expenditures, I don't know what's going on. That includes the purchase of water and all the other projects from ESR, Sleepy Hollow, as well as the reserves that are going to be booked. So project expenditures are around 86% of our year-to-date budget, and then we would book the contingencies and reserves at the end of the fiscal year. So things are staying on track overall so far. Questions?
Not from me.
For me,
Okay, awesome.
we-
Thank you.
I know.
I have one question. I do have one question. You said we received property tax in 3 installments?
Yeah,
I thought the county only collected it in 2 installments or whatever, 2 cycles. And
that is
that's
true.
pretty-
The third is more like a true up. So we get 2 big chunks, like 1.6 million in December, and then we received 1.2 million in April. And then the third is going to be like 200,000 or 100,000 true up. And so that's going to bring us closer to the 3 million that we budgeted.
So the third one is a true up for that tax year,
Yeah.
for that tax cycle. Okay, thank you. All right, I'm ready. I move approval of, no, this is acceptance, right? We accept the report, no action.
Yeah. Steve.
No action required.
All right, thank you for that. Item number 12 looks like an action item.
Yeah.
Third quarter investment report.
This is according to our investment policy where we're required to provide a quarterly report to the board. And this is a simple pie chart that shows the breakdown of our investments. So we have about 33 million at the very bottom. You can see that's our total portfolio. And about 50% of our portfolio is in LAIF. Another 30% is in bank CDs. And then about 12 to 14% is in bank accounts, and 3% is in class. Overall, the portfolio continues to generate decent yields. It's around 3.3%, and we will be collecting more revenues than we estimated. So our total interest income should be about 800,000 for this year. And we have seen this elevated income over the last couple of years, and it has also helped us kind of offset some of the other losses that we have seen in water supply fees and whatnot. So far, our portfolio stays liquid and is earning a decent yield. We are compliant with the investment policy. If the investment portfolio were to shrink, which it will, because there's a cash flow deficit in the coming months usually, then we might have to not renew some of our bank CDs. So our investment policy has a limit of 30% for our bank CDs, and so we'll keep an eye on that in the next couple of months. But the portfolio stays compliant, it's earning a decent yield, and it is fairly liquid.
So what's your tendency if you have to pull back from the bank CDs? Is it to reinvest in what other option?
Government agencies, that's what we have invested in, US government bonds. In fact, our investment in government bonds has gone up. It used to be around 200 to 300,000, now it's 850,000. And those bonds are also earning good yields. Right now, the bond that we purchased, that's around 4%. And we work with our brokers and try to get the best, highest yield that's available on the market. So this is a 2-year bond. I have to look into exactly what it is, but it could be any of the big agencies like Fannie, Freddie, GD May, any of these quasi-governmental.
State.
I don't believe this is state, these are federal.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
So that's
So,
the vote.
I move, we recommend board approval. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Carries. Number 12.
All right,
And
item number
13 is different.
13, lucky number 13. So this is adoption of resolution establishing the GAN appropriations limit for fiscal year 26-27. And every year, all California local governments they are required to adopt a resolution that establishes this GAN limit or the appropriations limit for the next year. And what this means is there is a limit on the amount of tax-backed revenue that a government can spend. And that limit is based on 1978 levels. This was established through Proposition 4. It's in Article 13B of the California Constitution. And every year there's an adjustment based on cost of living and population changes. So we look at last year's appropriation limit, and then we make adjustments for price and population. These numbers come from the Department of Finance, the California Department of Finance. They issue a notice out to all local agencies, and they say these are the figures for your jurisdiction. So there's a core increase, there's a cost of living increase of 4.9%, but then the population in Monterey City has shrunk slightly by 0.17%. So together, it's still going up by 4.9%. And so the new appropriations limit comes to around 2.49. That's the appropriations limit for next fiscal year. Now, the second piece is we cannot collect property taxes beyond the appropriations limit. And however, there are exceptions. So next year, we are anticipating collecting around 3,081,000. That's like 3% increase from the current fiscal year. However, if we take out the exemptions, so there are what's called the qualified capital outlay, and all the capital expenses, those can be exempt. And so there's about $1.7 million in exemptions, and that brings the tax collections that are subject to limit to 1.3 million, which is less than the appropriations limit. So we are on good ground, basically. And the recommendation is to just adopt a resolution establishing this appropriations limit of 2.49 million for the next fiscal year.
I have some questions.
Yes.
Does every jurisdiction, every public jurisdiction has to do this separate calculation? How much of this data could be done at the county level for all the jurisdictions within the county? I mean, it seems to me these are across the board changes. Why should each jurisdiction have to do the calculation?
The only change that's not across the board is population. We use the city of Montreal, so city of San City will have its own fluctuations, city of, Carmel. So that's the only change that's happening. And I think this is like established by regulation. It's every special district and municipality.
Did this come into play after the Prop 13? Did it become an issue after Prop 13 was passed? You said the GAN, I mean,
Well, yeah, so Prop 30 in 1979, and then there were subsequent revisions.
okay,
The spending is held at 1978 levels, and since then, all the fluctuations in inflation and population are tracked. And so now in 1978 dollars, we would be at a certain number, but I guess the short answer is yes to your question. It has been going on since.
So was the
Right.
GAN measure was added to the Constitution after Prop 13?
Oh,
If that's the case.
my guess is it was after,
It sounds-
it was just after.
It sounds like it's a piece of the puzzle that fits into Prop 13, because it sounds like the purpose of this is to limit the spending of money generated through taxes.
Mhm, mhm.
Although it's
Yes.
very, very convoluted formula, seems to me.
right.
Weird, but anyway, seems like that was probably the purpose.
Yes, limit tax spending. That's the short answer. It's a check and balance for all local governments. Hey, you can only limit this, you can only spend the amount of taxes you collected as of 1978, adjusted for all, those two fluctuations. I think proposition 4 was an amendment to Article 13, but I can get the exact wording right.
I'm just more curious than I am. I need the data, but it sounds like I understand the population differences by each jurisdiction. That's why each jurisdiction has to do is because they only have their own population and growth
And
figures.
that's part of the formula.
And that's part of the formula.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then each jurisdiction has to do it. That was really my fundamental question. But from a curiosity standpoint, I would still like to know. Anyway, never mind.
We can research.
Yeah, we can Google that and that the exact sequence.
1978, 1979 was the government that.
Ah.
Yeah, Prop 4. So
Prop
there's
4, right.
constant correlation.
Thank you. Yeah.
Unhelpful.
2 cents.
Yeah. Prop 13, sure shook up everybody. Well, we have to recommend this to the full board for action.
Yes.
So move, you move.
Adopting this resolution, because we have to do it.
Second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Let's see what else we have on the agenda. Information. I don't have any questions on 14 or 15.
Anything you want to follow?
I'd like to look at item 16 again. I can't remember whether I made notes or not.
Well, to answer your question, there are no expenditures, no major geo expenditures of the month of March, so that's not a mistake, they're just zeros.
It's not an oversight, it's a fact.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So there will be an update on the citizen report. That's what I really jumped out at me on this, so that's good. Have all the appointments been made or nominations been made? I'm just curious about the status of the membership.
You're looking at item 16, the draft agenda.
I'm on page 83, draft agenda for the board meeting. I'm not looking for a full report. I'm just curious about that one thing. Hold on.
Item 19.
And
Yeah.
Chair, excuse, Dave Stoltz did indicate that we would have closed session items for May 18th.
We will have closed session on May 18th, yeah.
Oh,
So that's not on the draft agenda, but.
No, that just came.
well, that was gonna be my next question was,
Well, let me answer it for you. Yes, we will have a closed session on at least one item. And you'll see that when we put it all together.
Can you tell us the nature of it? I mean, I know you.
It's gonna be at least an update on the Sierra Club matter and bringing that forward and just giving you an update on that. And then we may also do other updates as well.
So what time are we going to convene on Monday, the 18th?
Noon, no, just kidding. Probably
5?
5 p.m.
2 o'clock, yeah.
Think an hour is all we'll need.
Okay, 5 p.m.
I'm just making sure you're listening, George.
All right, so and then there's another special meeting after that. The May 28th, so okay.
Yeah, the budget.
Well, so is there an answer to the question? Have all the members been appointed or not?
There are 2 board members that are not appointed.
Okay, it's all right, doesn't matter.
I have a follow-up with one of them tomorrow,
Okay.
and I don't think the other board member will appoint a person. So,
Okay, well, we'll see how it goes. I'm just curious.
Yep.
All right. Any closing comments from anybody?
So if there's one board member who doesn't appoint. Do we fill that position some other way or just leave it unfilled?
you can leave it unfilled, and my train of thought was maybe we could add some staff potentially to come to those meetings as well. We'll have some new staff members that would probably benefit from some of the education that's gonna take place.
Yeah. Good, good. Yeah, I'm glad you raised your hand.
Yes. Mr. Chair and Board Member Paul, I'd like to introduce Molly Wooden to you. She is my replacement. So Molly started last week and I've been around here and there helping to bring her up to speed. So anyway, that you'll be seeing more of her.
Welcome, nice to meet you.
Carl Fire.
Welcome.
Great, nice to meet you guys and look forward to working.
So you don't have size 22 shoes?
No, just 6 feet. Not 6'4" like my mom. Just short as something.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Thanks
just-
for all your work
I had
here.
a sister who was taller than I was.
Let's hear my.
Well, I hope things are going well so far.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't burned anything down yet, so I think we're going along swimmingly.
And when did you start?
Last Monday.
Very new, very new.
Yeah, thank you. Not new to the water world
I'm
though.
glad you didn't fall asleep during this meeting.
It's still interesting.
What's your water related?
I started out of college at this lab across the street actually, and I ran that lab as water quality lab as a analytical chemist and microbiologist and supervisor for 11 years. And then I just recently was at Pebble Beach Company and doing their utility management, compliance management. And then I was involved in the water reclamation plant as well. There's a man in front right who was retiring and I was going into his position, then Stephanie retired and I came on over.
Well, a lot of very, very relevant experience.
Yeah, and local, CCN.
So we're not new to you. I mean, our district isn't new to you.
No.
I mean, you know about a lot of it.
Yeah, I was on the water reclamation side, so it's fun to be on this side of it too.
Right?
I had a lot of stormwater experience, yeah, anything water I love.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, good.
Great.
Thank you guys.
I
Welcome.
appreciate that,
Welcome.
Stephanie, that you are with us to help, what do they say these days, on board.
And Stephanie got the approval, I think, or maybe it's the next meeting, but you got the extension and so that all works out very nicely. Very nicely. Thank you, Stephanie, for all that you've done. Okay, we're adjourned.
That's good.
You will be at the, I assume,